Hey guys, Justin Germino from DragonBlogger.com here, and I'm here showing you Battletech and how you manage your crew and your mechs in between contracts. So I'm later on in the campaign where I got the Argo, so this is a little bit of a spoiler, but the Argo is a better ship that has more mech bays than the starter ship in the game. So in between missions, this is kind of like your central command where you do everything. You have your hiring hall where you hire new mercenaries, and it's a very good idea to have a lot of different mercenaries because mercenaries will die by accident. So if you put all your eggs in one basket and you just level up only a handful of mercenaries and you lose them, it's much harder to recover from that later on. So it's good to have a whole array of mercenaries and then be able to level up a bunch of them evenly. Take different ones out for missions, get them all leveling up so you're not too heavily dependent on just a handful of mercenaries. Obviously, each mercenary comes with an initial cost and a monthly salary, and there's upgrades you can get later on that give mercenaries experience even while they're on the bench every single day. So then you also got your store. Your store is where you buy equipment for your mechs, as well as mechs pieces itself, as well as where you sell your equipment. Something to notice about the equipment in the store is if you ever see a plus sign or multiple pluses, that's a better than average weapon. So an AC-10 and then AC-10 plus you see as plus 10 stability damage. I always look for the plus weapons, and if possible, get the plus or plus plus version of the weapons. That way you get an extra kick, like an LM15 plus plus has plus 1 stability damage and plus 125% critical. So again, in the store you're going to want to look for the plus and plus plus weapons. Of course, if they get shot off in combat, you lose them, but balance out getting as many plus plus or plus versions of weapons so they do a little bit better and a little bit more than stock. The other thing is you could sell. If you're running out of money, you're about to go bankrupt, selling mechs and is an important way to get a lot of money. You can often get a month's financial payment out of a single mech or two, so always scavenge mech parts. Getting mech parts in the salvage during contracts is how you get the most money. It's worth more than the money, honestly, from the mission itself, so it's always better to choose mech parts and salvage than it is to choose cash for the mission in many cases. You also notice that next to equipment, there's a little number over here. That's the number you have at equipment. So if you have an excessive equipment, like you see, I have 9 flamers. I don't need 9 flamers, so let me go ahead and sell 4 of them. I don't need 7 LRM-10s, so I'm going to go and sell a few of them. And that's a good way to get some extra cash by selling. Like I have 32 medium lasers times 3,000, so I don't need 32. I'll sell those back down to about, say, 12. Because I do stock a lot of them, maybe 11, and see that's a way to quickly come up with a lot of extra money by selling stuff at the store. So selling is how you get money in Battletech. Selling stuff from the store, salvaging and selling your salvages, it's far more than the money you get from contracts. So in Command Center you have contracts. Contracts are basically your missions. You've got your primary quests, which I often won't do unless I'm sufficiently stocked in mech. The skulls indicate the difficulty of the mission. Often you're going to want to have a tonnage that's a little better than the skulls. I find if you have a tonnage equal to the skulls, is very, very difficult. Like these missions, extremely difficult missions. These are 3.5 difficulty rating. Even at my goal right now, I try to stay around 2 difficulty rating missions. The thing is, you'll have increased difficulty ratings the better your reputation is, and often if you get reputation faster than you can build a good lance army of mechs, you'll be stuck to where the missions are too difficult and you'll end up costing more money and taking more damage or even losing pilots on the mission. So you got to be careful about that balance. Also in the Command Center, you can talk to Darius and Alexander. They just expand the lore and tell you what's going on in the environment. In the barracks, you've got your mech warriors. Here's where all your mech warriors that you have trained, you take them up levels with your experience. Remember, a mech warrior can only have two secondary skills, so choose carefully whether you want them to work on the piloting or the guts or the tactics or the gunnery, and which type of secondary skills you want them to have. If they want somebody to have a lot of ranged attack and called shots, I tend to use a lot of called shots, so tactics is really important. Guts is good if you want to keep a mech alive because it gives them that extra health so it can survive some extra damage. Of course, a lucky headshot will kill your pilot no matter how many health injuries they have. But here's a good way to balance out your experience points. And notice that some skills start costing 6,400 more experience. So you might want to start conserving experience until you know which tree you want to go down. And you want that ace pilot where they could shoot and then move after they shoot, or you want that extra special ability that somebody has that you're saving up for. So use your experience. Don't just try to level up everything evenly. You're going to want to really specialize your various pilots. Of course, then you have the mech bay. And in my case, I have multiple mech bays, but I haven't been able to afford to expand a second. Here's where you refit your mechs, repair them. And again, when you refit mechs, you could choose to specialize that mech, whether you want them to be long range and have a lot of LRMs for long range missiles or SRMs for short range missiles. You want to balance using heat sinks, know how much heat, efficiency you're going to have, balance out the heat sinks. Choose plus versions of weapons if you can, where appropriate. If I had an AC5 plus, I would rather load that than an AC5. Know your tonnage. You could put more weapons and sacrifice armor if you want to take that. You can also balance armor individually and actually tweak armor for specific sections. I always recommend having max head armor, though. I often find that your torso and your head, that's your pilot death. That's instant disabling the mech. So making sure your head and torso are heavily protected is important. But if you have an arm or something that doesn't have a lot on it, you may not want to have as much armor, although your arm does stand between the torso, so it does provide some, buffer in between your torso, and your torso injures your pilot. So often you want to have some, you don't want your arm to be knocked off right away and then your torso to be exposed. So balance out as best as possible. Jump jets give you maneuverability. It's always good to have some jump jets. Remember, there's different jump jets. Wait, I'm going to back out of this here. Cancel out what I was going to do. Also in your mech bay, you can talk to Yang, and again, he unlocks some, just more lore for the campaign. Doesn't really do anything other than that. For storage, this is where your various mech parts are, or your completed mechs. You can see I have a completed Blackjack, and I have a completed Firestarter, but I have parts of all these other mechs, which I'm trying to build up. You also have your various components, if you want to view them, that you have in storage. Your engineering, when you get the Argos, where you do your ship upgrades. Your ship upgrades do various things like improve the morale for your crew, so they start from more inspiration, they can do more of their special abilities. Increasing mech bays increases tech points on how fast your mechs can be repaired, as well as store more mechs ready for battle, so you don't have to wait so long for mechs to repair before you could take them out and waste days just skipping by. Your habitat pods, your training modules, which give experience, just various upgrades for your ship. They can also improve, reduce the amount of time traveling between planets for missions, etc. Your navigation is your star map for basically choosing which system you want to go to and visit. Shows you where contracts are, but you can also just visit systems for the heck of it. If you want to go visit a system and see what's in the store there, you can actually visit systems in between contracts. Although I tend to not have enough spare money just to go to systems to waste time, but you can pick up contracts at systems and things like that. Then of course you can review your finances, your reputation, customize your company, which is the color of your mechs, the banner your mechs wear, and things like that. So this is a little overview of the tutorial between missions. Again, you select your contract, then you pass time. There's some random encounters that happen on your ship that can give you tech bonuses, sometimes cost money, sometimes give you bonuses to your medical, so that way your people heal faster. In this case, I'm going to select the contract till my mechs are repaired, so I'm just going to click play and pass time, get some mechs repaired. You see my financial report every month is where you pay your finances. And again, your finances can be pretty costly. I have a financial upkeep of $351,000 a month. This shows you how many months worth of finances you have on file. So I only have 2 months buffer before I run out of funds. You're never going to want to get down to your last month of funds, because if you go bankrupt, it's game over and you got to reload. Again, this is an overview of the Battletech between the missions in your kind of main center, and how to manage your crew and your missions. Thank you for watching.